when we're thinking about how do we better connect, we want to look at so many different things. So again, it's gonna be a fire hose today, flying solo with all of y'all. So welcome to the co-pilot seat. Welcome to Johnson Airlines. Glad you're here. Jennifer, thank you for coming as well. Good to see you in the galaxy. I love the galaxy. I'm a pushover for the galaxy shots. I don't know why. I just love them. Lisa Hurley, thanks for being here. Always good to see you, my friend, straight from Nebraska. So want to give you a whole bunch of ideas on how I connect, how I stay feeling connected, because we are going into this, we're sophomores now in the pandemic. We've been through freshman year, and we're a bunch of preschoolers running around the pool. We don't know what's going on. That's freshman year. Sophomore year, we know a little bit more. We're still really not that smart. We have a lot more to learn. And if we look around, there's teachers everywhere. So I'm going to give you what works for me. Take what you want, leave the rest. If you have other ideas, you're welcome to put them in the chat. And let's go. So the mantra for the day, of course, is always anyone who wants to connect can. There are no excuses when it comes to connection. If you really truly want to connect, you can find a way to do it. One of my classic things, some of you have heard me teach already, I want to pull this one right out front, is make more phone calls and less screen time. That might seem ironic since you're all here on the screen, but really when we listen in, we listen better. When we remove the gift of our sight, we pay attention differently. If you were here for the juice when Hobie was on, my friend who's a sensory literist, he's been blind from birth. I asked him one time, Hobie, if you could see, would you want to? He said, no way. And to people like me who are sighted, I think, oh, really? Why would you not want to see? But that's our frame of reference. He is so much more in tune. And I'm like, Larry and I now have Hobie moments. We've had Hobie moments for several years because I've known Hobie for a while. But what he taught on the juice a couple months ago was step outside and close your eyes. And really take that in. What are 3 things you hear, and how do you feel, and what is the air like, and what do you smell? Like, that's connection. That's why I love him. That's why he was here, because he was teaching us, like, what does it mean to really tap into that? He taught me how to think about the lunar eclipse a year and a half ago. And I experienced, it was magic, because he taught me some ways to connect with myself. And again, shut your eyes, Ginger. Pay attention to how something feels. So there's a lesson today. Shut your eyes and pay attention to how something feels. We don't give enough credence to our emotions and our feelings, and they are so flippin' real. And if you're, I'm going to give you a permission slip today too. If you have people in your life who don't respect when you share those kinds of things, it's time to move on. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean we're judging them. It means that they're not the right person to support you. So if they don't understand that, let them go. There's a bunch of other people. There's some right here in this room. So that's another piece of the juice today. Pay attention to who really feeds you, who helps you feel connected. Last Saturday, my fine husband, Larry, and I had a brunch, virtual brunch, with a girlfriend that I've known since I was 20, for a few decades. And Jenny and I went to college together, and I graduated in 90 the first time around. And so that's 30 years. And we've known each other. We've communicated regularly. For years, we wrote weekly letters back and forth to each other. So that's another piece of juice right there. Like, write some damn letters, write some postcards, send mail, because who loves to get who body mail in the box, right? Yes. Hurley, I know you got some of my postcards hanging up in your office. Like, those things matter. Send somebody a hard. Yeah, I know you do. It's right above your desk. I saw it when I was there. Send hard copy mail. It still blows my ever-loving mind that for 55 cents, way less than a cup of coffee, we can send something across a continent. If that doesn't blow your mind, you're in the wrong spot. What? And even the first class international, because I keep a sheet of those because I got so many great people across the world now that I'd love to send mail to. Like, that's only like $1.50 a piece. I'm like, seriously, to get a little piece of paper to another continent is unbelievable to me. Write lots of mail. Now, here's the deal with mail. Send it freely. Do not expect to get something back. The gift in giving is truly the giving mechanism. If you do get something back, when you do get something back, law of averages, the more you do it, the more you'll get back. However, give it freely. Give it with the intent that I'm going to make John's day, that I want to put a smile on Jennifer's face, that I want this to mean something to Hope. Like, and it's about them. It's such a powerful exercise. I mean, one of these days I'm going to tally up my postage, how much I buy in postage each year. I'm not kidding you. I'm sure it's in the 4 digits. I send so much mail because it makes me happy. And it matters to the people who get it. And when I get something back, that's a day maker. So send some Who Body mail. In fact, make me a promise right now in the chat. In fact, we're gonna like get serious about this. In the chat, tell us one person you're gonna send a piece of mail to before tomorrow is done. I'm gonna do it with you. Has to be a real person. I want a first and a last name. It doesn't matter that we don't know them. Give us a very specific person. And then you make darn sure you do that. Pretend I'm looking over your shoulder, okay? All right, y'all get one? Okay, great. Good. Do that, make that commitment, because that commitment is to ourselves to stay feeling connected. I promised that I would share some ideas on how to feel connected. Mail helps you feel connected. For those of you in business, and it doesn't, for those of you in business, like have something that's really cool and branded. Simple is what we need. It doesn't have to be fancy. Like I love going to thrift stores. I don't know if anybody else in the room likes thrift stores. I love thrift stores. There's just this treasure trove of, ooh, what am I going to find? Now, I don't want to collect a bunch of crap, but I know there are things in those thrift stores that help me stay connected. First of all, I like that shopping experience. I'm not a big shopper, but there's something fascinating. It's like, why I do garage sales and estate sales? We like rooting through things. Okay, so when I go, I look for stationery. One time at one of my local Goodwills, there was a box on a counter that was loaded full of vintage postcards. Wow. And it was something like, 5 cents a piece or something. Like, oh baby, this whole box is mine. And I think I bought all of them. Like 5 cents? Are you kidding me? And I might have a couple left. And this was literally like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, this is a score. Simple. I like to take packaging. I don't buy a lot of packaged things, but once in a while, okay, I'll come clean on you. So y'all know the cereal Count Chocula? Yeah? Okay, there's one in the brand, it's called Blueberry, and it doesn't come out as much. It's here and there, but I can get it in Casper, Wyoming, which is where my in-laws live, and my mom-in-law always buys me several boxes because I can't find it here. And it's terrible for me. And I know this, and I still love it. And when I'm done with those boxes, I cut out the ghost and I send it as a postcard because it makes me laugh. That's connection, my friends, right? Like you're all laughing at this. Find something that's fun, that's funny, cut it up and send it. Make a note. I'd love to take cartoons and put that in a note. I get the New York Sunday Times. And in the New York Sunday Times, there's always a section called the Metropolitan Diary. And it's stories of New Yorkers. It's just like micro stories of, I was going to the subway and this happened or whatever. And I just love these little stories because the stories are very much stories that we can all identify with. And I cut those out because I love that section every single time. And then depending on who I'm sending something, like maybe I'm writing Susan and I'm like, I think Susan would appreciate this. Or something about one of those stories makes me think of Hope or whatever it is. So I have a folder with my stationery where I tuck things that I will send along. I just did it yesterday. There was an interesting article on how do you transport giraffes. I'm not making this up. There was an article in the New York Times about how a sanctuary transports giraffes because the sanctuary, there's a limit on giraffes. Anyway, I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. Wait a minute. My mom has a really good friend who loves giraffes. So in an envelope that thing went and I sent it to my mom. Now I send plenty of mail to my mom, but that connects me in a different way because that tells her, I'm not just thinking about her, I'm thinking about her life. Now, will she forward it to a friend? Totally her choice. But I love those connection points. They are everywhere, my friends. So mail is so powerful. Paint a picture, take a blank piece of paper, draw something, right? Thank you. It doesn't matter. What matters is you do it. Okay. So, whew, another way, the hits just keep on coming, my friends. Another way that I absolutely encourage you to feel better connected is to become radically candid. This book is a life changer. You can take a screenshot if you want. Radical Candor, Kim Scott. And I love this. She's the former, I'm looking at the back. She's the former CEO of Dropbox, Twitter, Google, Apple, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, radical candor is not about being rude. It's not about being abrupt. It's not about not listening, disrespect, anything. It's about figuring out how to get what you want by saying what you mean. She says it right there. And in not a manipulative kind of way. Highly recommend this little book. And for the record, one of my favorite sites to get books at is thriftbooks.com. I'll write it in the chat, thriftbooks.com. I like it because I don't shop Amazon. And I like thrift stores, which y'all know. As an author, I can tell you that authors don't make money on used books. So if you really love an author or a book, the author gets something from you buying it new. And I don't know if you know that. I didn't know that till I became an author. There's no residual sales. It's not like music. Every time the song is played, they get something. So there you go. And there's another way to feel connected. If you love a book, buy one of the same copy and send it to somebody who you believe would find value in it as well. It's so much fun. You think getting a piece of mail is fun? How about a package? And if not even Christmas? Yay! They're goodies. That's why we call them goodies and not baddies. One of the most recent books, I'm on a roll. Thank you all so much for being here today. This is great. You can unmute if you want, or you can stay muted. It doesn't matter to me. But one of the books I bought recently, and I've had to put a moratorium on myself, although I'd actually just like to have a book sponsor, because I already know what my legacy is. It's going to be a library. This book, Social Chemistry by Marissa King. I came across this book because I saw an announcement for an event she did on January 5th. I was like triple parked on that one, so I was literally unable to make it. She's a professor at Yale, and this is totally up my alley, human connection. I'm like, oh, this is interesting, decoding the patterns of human connection. I love it already. I'm literally 9 pages in, and I already love this book. I want to tell you why. And some of you know me well. You'll totally laugh at me telling you this. She dives into it's networks, not networking. And she talks about extroversion and introversion. Well, these are things I preach because we can't use those as excuses. You use that as an excuse, you just take yourself out of the game. Don't do that. So here's the lesson with the books today, in addition to the lessons from the books, is if you find something connects you in a book, that's feeling connected. And I know, Hope, you said you kind of want to have a purpose in your reading. Great. Whatever that purpose is, that's legit. Like my husband, he loves to read, Surely to read. I do too. That's enough for me. Now, I'm not going to read a bunch of crap. I know what I like. And I know that sometimes, and crap, that's a little strong of a word, but I know that I need once in a while what my mom calls delicious fluff. I need something that can just come in and then go out. One of my favorite avenues for that are comic books, because comics, write one of your favorite comic books in the characters or something, write it in the chat if you would, please. I want to see who y'all love. I have the full collection of Calvin and Hobbes, been a diehard fan of them since I first figured out that Hobbes was a stuffed tiger. We have some Zits, we have some Better or Worse, we have some Get Fuzzy. I seem to go to comics that matriculate, and peanuts aren't my thing, but I know they're around forever. But your comic books are really a great tool, especially right now, because it gives us, there you go. Thank you, John. Yeah, it gives us literally the gift of escape in a really positive way. It's I'm going to spotlight somebody. Let's see, Jennifer. Would you unmute yourself, please?
There we go. Hi.
Jennifer,
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're great. Thank you for being here. Jennifer, why do you love Garfield? Why do you go to Garfield?
I think because of the simple humor and the fact that a cat talks back and forth with his owner, and I love lasagna and the cat loves lasagna, and they're short, so they're just like a really short, quick little humor, and I love animals. So
Yeah. Okay. Does that all make you feel good?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Jennifer. Do this, because if you feel good and that helps you feel good about yourself, that's connection. That is totally connection. So give yourself that. I love my library. I support my library. There's a couple library books here. Get them from the library. Pearls Before Swine. I don't know if anybody's seen that comic strip. It's crazy. Hope you've seen it. Yeah. It's completely, it's oblique until you get it. It's like listening to a foreign language or somebody with a really distinct accent, and you're like, okay, I'm trying to, and then all of a sudden it clicks, like, oh, now I understand them. Maybe that's how you felt when you first met me. Anyway, so the social chemistry, Susan, I know you know what I'm talking about. The social chemistry one, highly recommended if you're interested in decoding the patterns of human connection. Here's another way to connect right now, to feel connected. So when I saw the invite to Marissa's live event, I had a whole bunch of reactions. And I'm not spending more time than I, quote, need to online, because I frankly, I don't enjoy screen very much. This is my favorite way to enjoy screen time with live people. Like, I don't have courses, for example. They just don't call any joy for me. But I reach out in different ways. And here's some behind the curtain for me. When I saw this event announced on LinkedIn, first of all, I'm huge on LinkedIn. I have a very strong presence. And I've taught some of it. Susan, I know you've been in the room for one of my LinkedIn classes. Lisa, I know you and I have coached you with that, and so forth. John, same thing. LinkedIn is a really powerful community. If you want to feel connected, you can find some of your people there. When I saw this announcement, I clicked on the Eventbrite link and I signed up right away. And it was so strong for me that I thought, I'm not even going to look at my calendar. I don't care if I can or can't make it, because I'm going to watch it one way or the other. Now, I rarely do that. There's so much available right now that we tend to overwhelm and we tend to overschedule. So here's another connecting tactic today. Say no to the stuff you're not sure of. Like, if it's a maybe, it's a no. You got other things to do with your time. You got other ways to invest it. Invest it, don't spend it. So I looked at this, I immediately registered, and then I immediately invited her to connect. And then I also noticed that the person who was leading the talk was somebody in Patagonia, like the clothing company. As a business owner, F yeah, I want to work with Patagonia. That was fudge, by the way. I want to work with Patagonia. That book is a phenomenal book. Let My People Go Surfing by Yvon Chouinard, who founded Patagonia. Phenomenal book, Let My People Go Surfing. So all these things, I mean, this visual, you can't see it real well, but it's like a whole bunch of electrons attached. Part of my connecting methodology is like, how holistic can this be? Okay, I want to go to the talk because it's an interesting topic. I want to know who the author is, so I'm connecting with her. I want to know who the presenter is, so I'm connecting with him. I bought the book in this case, before reading it from my library. And then I start sharing it with other people. Like, who else do I know might find this of value? It's up to them to say yes or no. And by the way, here's another connecting tactic. That's right, you're just getting a whole load today, like I promised. If you invite somebody, please give them the exit door if they want it. So I could say, hey, Lisa, oh my gosh, I know you're really interested in human connection right now. I signed up for this. This might be great for you with your next YCDC project. Feel free to share it with the board. If it doesn't work, totally cool with that, or it's totally your choice. Give people the drop shoulders to say, oh, okay, they're not expecting something from me. Because if I send that to Lisa and she does find it of value, she's going to forward it. If I send it to Lisa, she's like, I am up to my eyeballs in alligators and I love this, I'm not going to do it. Okay, great. Honestly, I love her. I don't care. What I care about is that I've connected and I've offered something. Doesn't have to go any farther. Like just like reading the book for pleasure, that's the destination. So look holistically at how you're connecting. And so Marissa is the author's name. She teaches at Yale. Anybody who knows my mind really well knows that, oh, now Ginger wants to teach at Yale. Well, yeah, because look at, like, for me, that kind of platform is amazing. Because I'm going to reach other people like you. I'm going to reach other remarkable people doing amazing things. I get to do my work. I get to meet with them. I could potentially develop new client partners. So I look at things very, very holistically. There's very little that's one-dimensional in my mind and in my world. So she responded to my invite. She said, oh, I've never met somebody who's a chief connecting officer. She read my profile on LinkedIn before she responded. That's another lesson today. If you are on LinkedIn, please don't be willy-nilly about both sending and accepting. In the last 8 months, I cannot tell you how many more people I've gotten inviting me. We're just coming out of the woodwork, just pushing. Don't be that person, first of all, which I don't believe any of you are, but also challenge in a really nice way. I'll give you an exact example. I'm getting a lot of invites. When I'm active, I get a lot of invites. And I think I hope that's true for most people, but I also try to give really good value. I really want to educate. And so I can gauge my value by how many invites I get. That's another connecting lesson. What value are you truly putting out there? Or is it just you flapping your lips? Is it just me talking because I like to talk? That doesn't serve anybody. If I want to do that, I'll go for a walk and I'll listen to myself. But more importantly, it's about them. So I'll get an invite and we'll just call this person H. H sends me an invite, and most of the time there's no personalized text. Never do that. Promise me. Raise your right hand. Tell me you're never going to do that. Never? Go ahead. Okay, thank you. You're all sworn in. And we're not swearing at, we're swearing in, just like John said. So when you invite, put a personalized message, and no, you cannot pick one of the automated ones. That's like the fake rock hiding the power box. We all know they're fake rocks. No bueno. A simple sentence. Hey, Susan, I see you're doing remarkable work in the interior design space. I'm really interested in feng shui. Let's connect. That's it. Okay, it was 2 sentences. That's easy. That's simple. That's meaningful. We're not in the volume game. That's the next lesson. Connecting isn't a volume game. And I don't care if you're prospecting. I don't care if you're looking for a job. It's never a volume game. Volume dilutes your superpowers. One thing, one connection, one person, one action. We're triple parking our lives right now. And that's a massive mistake. It's huge energy waste. We're not going to get to all the stuff. And then we pile this pressure on ourselves. The number one person you need to impress, my friends, is you. Stay connected with you because you're amazing. Look at those things holistically. When you are getting the invites that are either canned or there's no introduction, this is what I write. Hey, H, thank you for your kind invite. Tell me what compelled you to do so. And I sign G for me, and that's it. And I send it. I do not accept it. So thanks for the kind invite. Like, hi, H, thanks for the kind invite. What compelled you to do so? And I send it. And what do you suppose happens? Well, here's what happens. The people who aren't my people don't respond. And I wish them well. I give it about a week. And I go through, I like keeping things tidy. So I give it about a week. And if they haven't responded, I will go back. And what I do is I call it close the loop. I got that from a coach of mine previously. I close the loop so nothing's open. I'm not wondering. And I'll say something along the lines of, let's see, I'm going to do this in the next couple of days. So I would say, go ahead and follow me. Like, hi, H, go ahead and follow me. You can learn more about human connection there. Take care. That's it. And then I send it. And now I have LinkedIn Premium, and this may make a difference. I don't know. I have LinkedIn Premium because I want to be able to have very open communication. I don't know what the limits are anymore, honestly, about non-premium for invites, but I can do this with LinkedIn Premium. And I send it, and then I delete the request. I ignore it, and then I get rid of it. So what I'm doing is I'm letting them know that I truly want connection, and I'm not interested in a sales pitch. And that's another thing I will say. So if you're getting some of those too, I will say, hey, H, it seems like you're really using this to prospect. Good luck with your efforts. I'm here to connect. So if you want to connect, let me know. If you're here to prospect, we're not a fit. Which one is it? This, my friend, that is radical candor. Like, I'm just getting right to it. Why pussyfoot around? Why waste time? I don't know about you. I don't have any time to waste. And I'm sure not going to give it to somebody I don't know if they're not going to engage in a personal way. Doesn't make them a bad person. I just know that they're not my person. So that's how I use a little bit of the LinkedIn. Now, what's super cool is when people do respond. So like Marissa, social chemistry, I could tell she read my profile. Oh, I've never met a chief connecting officer. I'm like, oh, boom, I've got her attention. Good. The conversation has started. Just like Sherlock would say, the game is afoot, or whatever afoot means. The game is on. And then you can start to have fun. Yeah, well, tell me about this. And so I told her, I said, I got your book, and I often get it from the library. Now, it can feel like that's when we start to dump. Don't do that. Just because somebody answers the door doesn't mean that we're welcome to dinner. But it does mean that we can be kind and progress the conversation. So like, I know that you all know this, I'm a very enthusiastic person. And I know that can bowl some people over until they know that that is who I am, that I'm not trying to push my agenda. I'm simply really interested in them. So I will discipline myself to say, well, I'm gonna share this much. And sometimes how I do that is I'll go ahead and get all that excitement out, and then I'll read it before I send it quickly. Like, oh, I'm gonna cut half of this out because I want to be respectful. So that's another piece of lesson. Like, when you are messaging on any platform, be mindful of how long your messages are. And I would challenge you, like my friend Janice Porter, a LinkedIn coach, says, my goal with LinkedIn is to take the conversation from online to offline. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, right? John, you know exactly what I mean. We could go back and forth on this electronic things all day long, but that doesn't make it a real connection. That just makes it an electronic conversation. If we really want to get somewhere, say, hey, John, that was really fun. Would you be open to having a half-hour phone call? Sure. And if they say, no, thanks, okay, that's still success. Because it's not what they want. Okay, don't force it. All right, well, we'll just keep the chat going as it fits. Let things truly be organic in connecting. A lot of times, just let that unfold. I had a wonderful conversation with a gentleman earlier this week. Let's see, today's Thursday. On Tuesday, he's got a really interesting last name. It's Boozang. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't asked him yet where that came from. That's going to be something I ask him. At the end of the conversation, he said, well, this was a really fun, organic conversation. Let's keep it going. Now, he works for a university system. Somebody who values me, who I also value, recommended I connect with him. So I reached out to him. He was receptive. We had a really fun back and forth on LinkedIn, and we decided to have a phone call. So we had our first one on Tuesday. It was great. He's interested. He said, So there's what's called buying signals, or I'll call them relationship signals, because that's bigger. One of the relationship signals to pay attention to is, gosh, that was a great conversation. Let's X. Let's keep it going. Let's set the next one. When can we keep doing this? I've reached my destination. I got to go inside, whatever that is. Like, instead of taking that as an affront, like, oh, something else is more important than me. No. Just take it as your opportunity to say, oh, great, I get to have another conversation with a really interesting person to help them do their life better. So he's part of an educational institution that has, from what my friend says, she says they have gobs of money. Now, I am not that crass. At the same time, I am in business and I want to do business with people who have the money to invest. There's no doubt about it. I'm very radically candid about that. Mama can't buy groceries with nothing. And I love business. So, all right, there's a little bit more. You good? Everybody good? Gonna keep this going? Okay, great. Okay, couple other, well, there's no way I'm gonna go through all these unless we're gonna be here for a couple hours, and then I hope you got something to drink. This book, I know I brought this up to some of you before. I love Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference. Oh, it's so good, isn't it, Hope? Yes, this is one that I got from the library, and my litmus test of how well connected I am to that book is if I want to write in it, I actually take it back to the library almost immediately because I don't want to write in the library book. And I get my own.
Yep.
It's a phenomenal book. This is a life skills book. He's a former FBI negotiator for very, very high pressure hostage situations, and he's hilarious. So highly recommend that one. Another great one. Love this man. He doesn't know it yet. He's going to be at one of my dinner parties in the future. Adam Grant, Give and Take. Anything that Adam writes, I will read because he is a giver and I'm starting to forge a relationship. That's another thing. Just like with Marissa, if somebody's writing a book that I love, I definitely send them a notice. Hey, John, I really enjoyed your book, X, Y, and Z. This particular thing spoke to me. Keep the good stuff coming. Dan Pink, Jackie Huba. I got some others in the lineup. Shelly Archambault, Marissa King. Like that's a huge strategy for me. So that is a big way to feel connected for me. If that works for you, if you're a reader and you really want to know these authors, you can reach out to them authentically so it doesn't feel icky. So they like I try not to fan out. I've done that a couple times. I met Alice Waters one time. I totally fanned out. But I try not to fan out because they don't need more of that. But they definitely appreciate genuine appreciation. So for example, I'll go to one of them right here. She's a new one to me, Shelly Archambault. I heard her on Whitney Johnson's Disruption podcast. Shelly, unapologetically ambitious. I love the title. And Shelly's pretty remarkable. She should have been the CEO of IBM. She was passed up. I'm not going to spoiler it for you. You're going to have to read the book. I love her. Look at that. I mean, how can you, this beautiful face. So here's another way I feel connected with people who I haven't yet met. Once I started reading this book and once it started resonating with me, I thought, oh, I'm going to connect with her on LinkedIn and I'm going to tell her why. I found her on Twitter because Twitter is one of my mainstreams. I think I looked on Instagram. That's a very secondary thing for me, but okay. And I've started to mention her more and point out her book. She's paying attention. Just today I was on my LinkedIn and I noticed I had cited something because it just fit. Somebody said something like, oh, this makes me think of Shelly's book. I cited it. And then she came back, she's like, hey, thanks for the reference. Goes around, comes around, folks. So good. Another one who I love is Daniel Pink. I'll read anything by Daniel. He is one I'm forging a relationship with. He now knows who I am. And again, it's not in a weird way. Like the world is full of remarkable people. You're all a perfect example of that. I want to know them. I want to take it farther. I genuinely want them to know that I appreciate it and that I'm interested in knowing who they are. So Daniel Pink has written a bunch of books. Whole New Mind. Let's see. When is his latest book? He's writing one on regret right now, which is probably going to be fascinating. I don't know if I'm actually going to put that on my list. Here's a classic. And one thing that really, really connects me is food and cooking and hospitality. Some of you have actually been to my home, and you're all welcome when the coast is clear, which it's not yet. And I am a serial dinner party host, and I love throwing parties because the joy it brings me to see other people having a great time, to see other people not worry about a thing, that really, really fundamentally connects me. There's very little in this world that I would rather do than host a dinner party. Just everything about it is magic. I also love cooking and I love food, and I can hold a cogent conversation while I'm cooking, which apparently is a talent not everybody can do. So anyway, one person who has long helped me feel connected with me And that's the lesson here. Like, who helps you feel connected with you? Read them over again, read them again, recommend them, support them, is Martha Stewart. For better or worse, I don't care what you think about her. I love you anyway. Like, I have an enormous admiration and appreciation for her. She is a survivor. And she's not just a survivor, she thrives. She's reinvented herself at least 4 times. Did you know, for example, she was a professional model? She was. So was Lauren Hutton. Most people don't even know who she is. Anyway, she was on Wall Street. Okay. And then she became a caterer. And then she started Omnimedia. Like, her story is so inspiring to me. Here's the funny thing to me. I don't like listening to her. I love reading her. Her voice, no, thank you. Very distinct. I think it's great. It's just I don't like listening to her, but I love reading her. And so the Martha Rules is one that I love. It's a classic book on 10 essentials for achieving success. And she, by the way, she tells a little bit of the story of when she was in the can, which is really quite interesting, because I think she was skewered. I think she was made an example. That's my personal belief. All the same, she handled it with grace and she made it through. And she talks about some of her time in prison with the other inmates, and it's talk about connection. Mind-blowingly fascinating. So I've got a lot more books. I'm not going to take up the rest of your afternoon. If you want to stick around, I'll keep going through a few more if anybody would like some more. If you need to bounce, I totally appreciate that. So let me pick one more. Oh, it's so hard. I know. Okay. Yeah, there's there's literally, look at that. Look at all those. That's ridiculous. I'm good with ridiculous. I want to give you one of the ones, oh my God, this is so hard. Okay, 2. Oh, so good. If any of you send me an email, a direct email after this, and want, Ginger, I want the whole list, I will send it to you. I'm not going to publish it anywhere else. This one was given to me by some wonderful friends 13 months ago. Lisa Hurley, I got this on my way back from seeing you in Nebraska, from friends in Council Bluffs, Iowa. This book, The Opposite of Hate by Sally Cohn. I think this is an important book. And I didn't know who the heck Sally Cohn is. John, I'm guessing you know who Sally Cohn is. She was a CNN, she was Fox, and it's called A Field Guide to Repairing Our Humanity. She really talks about what does it mean to not hate? And what is the opposite of hate? The opposite of hate is not love. I'm not going to spoil it. You're going to have to read it. This book is really, I'm never going to get rid of this book. Really important one. The one I will wrap it up with, and for the record, one way that I feel most connected to books is that I read a mix of authors. And what I mean by that is I'm very, very aware of gender. Very aware of that. It makes me bonkers when I see 10 best books and they're all by men. Like, what the F? Stop it. Like, be aware. And what's the variety of the variety of gender? What a gift that is so much more prevalent, obvious, talked about, accepted. Like that's important to me. And I know it's important to you. I know it is. And I pay attention to that because I don't want my reading to be lopsided, because it just, blah. The founding fathers, no, don't give me that crap. The only thing I didn't like about the poem yesterday, which this is completely me, that phenomenal Amanda Gordon, she used the word man. Like, really? Okay, let it go. Got other fish to fry. The book I'm going to wrap it up with is one that I finished at the end of the year, last year, and my mom-in-law found it. She's part of a Friends of the Library in Casper, Wyoming. And so she's like, oh, that would be both wonderful and terrible curse. The Casper Library, they're Friends of the Library. It's the book sales. It's the stuff people turn in and so forth. Like it's huge. It's its own library by its own standards. But I give her the notice. I'm like, hey, Shirley, would you keep your eyes open for X? And next thing you know, I got a box coming. Like, it's wonderful. But I didn't know about this book, and she sent it to me, and I definitely recommend it. It's called Rest. And the premise that Alex, the author, talks about is that we don't give enough respect and credence to resting. And Alex happens to be a male in this case. Alex Soonjung Kim Pang. What do you suppose was the first thing I did? Connected with him on LinkedIn. And we have had a little bit of conversation. My only negative of this book is that most, like 90% of the examples he cites are men. Again, drives me berserk. Okay, try to let it go, Ginger, and then make a note to self to make sure I don't do that. All women, all men, all trans, all bi, all of anything is not representative. I love this book. I think, for one, I wanted to read it when I actually read it incidentally. I looked at my bookshelf one night, I'm like, I don't have the brain for a business book right now. In the evenings, I want to check out. I'm like, well, let's just see what this book is about. I was hooked. I like how he writes, which is also important to me, which is another lesson today. Like, read writing that you like. Don't try to struggle through. That doesn't make any sense. There's millions of books, my friends. If War and Peace doesn't hit you, find something else. The chapters, a couple of particular chapters, one on naps. Anybody else a nap proponent? Yeah. Naps are way more important than we let ourselves believe. So that was a big one. Another one, sabbaticals. That's cool. Deep play, exercise, recovery. Recovery is big. We don't sleep. Stopping. It's great. Walk. I like to walk. I think there's some other walkers in the room. And he deconstructs some of it. Like, oh, okay, so why is walking so effective? And one of the big takeaways in this book, and this is where we'll drop off today, is that when we rest, and what that means is when we rest our body, when we rest our brain, when we give ourselves the permission to say, I'm going to take a rest, I'm going to rest, we clear the way for so much more. I've struggled with my sleep for a couple of years now, and it's difficult. I don't know why, and I'm trying to figure it out. And I've studied sleep and so forth. Alex's book has literally, I'm not kidding y'all, it's helped me sleep better because I'm learning how to respond to what I'm thinking. The hamsters are not in my head lately. Like, that's a big deal for me. Like, I'm thinking about this differently. So that connects me better. When we sleep better, we are better. There's no argument to that. So think about these things. If any of these were useful, please enjoy them. If you've got another suggestion on a book, go ahead and put it in the chat for me or send me an email afterwards. I'm very accessible. If you want the whole list of all this on the table, you got to send me your own email. I'm not going to do it otherwise. And if you have any requests for topics at future juices, let me know. So with that, I'd say the juice is a wrap. Thank you so much for being here. Call on me anytime I can help you with your connecting efforts. I'm very interested in making sure that 2021 is a phenomenal year in a great way. So many great ways for you. Grateful and glad for your time. Take good care. And remember, it's always a great day to connect. See you later, my friends. Bye.